Welcome to the Kafka demo. What we're going to do is run through producing and consuming messages using Kafka. In order to do that, we need to install Kafka. So the way we're going to do that is using the Docker container, Docker containers of Kafka and also Zookeeper, which allow us to do that. So in your homework assignment, we've given you the YAML file, the Docker Compose YAML file for creating that. So I've already gone ahead and added it to this directory. So as you can see, it is right there. Now what I'm going to do is also, I want to make sure that my other, that I do not have that installed yet. So I'm going to do a Docker PS. So basically, as you can see, I just have the standard 3 containers from your first homework assignment that you've been using throughout. That includes Airflow, Jupyter, and also Postgres and MongoDB. So what I want to do is now I can, as I mentioned, here is the Docker Compose file for the JHU containers that I have running, and also the Docker file for that and all that. But what I have right here is just this Docker Compose.yaml file, which includes everything I need to do to spin up the image and the Docker containers for both Kafka and Zookeeper. So what I want to do is, in order to use that one, if I just use Docker Compose up, what's going to happen is that's going to search for this Docker Compose YML file right there. However, if I give it an option of -f as for file, then I can dictate the actual file that I'm looking for the Compose, and that in this case is this. So what I want to do is a Docker Compose -f option, then the Kafka file name, so the Kafka Docker Compose YAML, and then up, and then I want to run it detached mode just so that everything's running in the background, and so I don't have to see it and don't have to open a different terminal if everything's running in this. This way it's running, but it's only running in the background, so the -d is for detached. So if I run that command, it'll take just a minute to pull the image or images, get those up and loaded into Docker Desktop or Docker in general, and then but it's also going to create the containers. So now I have, if I run a Docker PS, that will show me that in addition to the other 3 containers that I've run, and I also have Zookeeper and Kafka running. And so everything's set now. Now, in order to work with Kafka, we're going to use something called Kafka Cat. So I need to first get to the bash terminal. So what I want to do is Docker exe -it, as we've done many times. I need the first. I'm going to use this this Airflow / Jupyter container right here. So I want the first few letters or numbers, which is 5843. So want to use that. I could use all of them, but this makes it a lot easier. Just use the first few because it's unique. And then I want to do a bash terminal, so bin bash. So now, as you can see, I'm in the root terminal for the Python container or Jupyter container. And so I'm going to do a clear screen. Now, what I want to do is I want to first show so I have Kafka Cat installed. Or actually, I have not done that yet. I have to do an update for this container. Now, this is an Ubuntu container, so you can see it's the jammy version of Ubuntu. I can't remember which one that is, of 20.04 or whatever that is. So anyway, but that doesn't matter. What we are doing now is trying to get that updated. So what it's going to do, in addition to updating all the other packages, it's also updating the repository locations, so it knows where to find Kafka Cat. That's just, if it did not, I could add that, but it will do that just by doing an update. So now that is up to date. So what I want to do is install Kafka Cat because I do not have it installed yet. So I just need to do an apt install. And remember, we are at the in the bash terminal, not at the command line. If you try at the command line, none of this will work. So what I'm going to do is apt install Kafka Cat. And that just takes a second to load up Kafka Cat. So now we're all set. We have Kafka Cat installed. We also have the Kafka and Zookeeper containers running. So what we now want to do is, first let me clear the screen. I want to show you what is, if we already have any topics, which we won't because it's a brand new installation of everything. And so, the volumes have been deleted, etc. So I started over from scratch for this particular demo. And so I should not have any topics. So what I want to do is a Kafka Cat -B for broker, and then we're going to run it on Kafka port 92, and then -L for list. So what I'm doing now is listing all of my topics and brokers. So as you can see, I only have one broker, and that's running at 9092, and I have 0 topics created yet. So what I want to do next is to create a producer. Well, that is very simple. The command for that is Kafka Cat -B, and then again the broker that it's running on. So that is Kafka 9092, and then -T, which is for topic. So this is going to be called just test topic. It could be anything. You could have multiple topics. So every time you consume it, you can have, you could be just producing to this topic and then also produce to different topics. And if you're consuming them, you have to dictate again which topics you're looking for, and that'll only show you the messages going to that particular topic. So in this case, the -P is for produce. So now once we run this command, you will not see anything happen after I press enter, because what it's doing is it's waiting for the actual message that you're going to enter, and press return. Every message is delimited by a return. So every time you press return, it sends a new message. Now what I'm going to do is, in order to make this easier to see it going back and forth, I'm going to have a second, I'm going to use both screens. So 2 windows. So now I have 2 different terminals. Now, in order to, so this one is still in the regular, in this case, it's a Macintosh system. So what I'm going to do is get into the root of that Python again. So I think that should be really close. Yeah, there we go. So it's the same. Actually, that's not the same one anymore. It's 5848 or something like that. So let me just see which one it is on. Yeah, it's 5843. So what I want to do is a Docker again, Docker exe -it, and then 5843, and then the bin bash to get a bash terminal. Okay, so now I'm at the root of that. I'll clear this out as well. So what I want to do now is to have create a consumer, and the consumer is the system that's actually showing you the messages. So what I'm going to do first is do the Kafka Cat -B for broker, Kafka 9092, and then a -C for consumer. Now what I'm going to show you that running without the quiet mode, and then I'll show you running with the quiet mode. So right now I'm not going to do that yet. What I want to do is I want to show you what happens when I don't have a consumer running. I want to show you that the messages are still being produced, but you're not seeing anything. You don't know where they are. You don't know anything. So basically, I got message 1, 2, and so we are not seeing anything going on. However, those messages are being produced and are being captured, but until you do a Kafka Cat -B for broker, Kafka 9092, and then we want to say again -T for the test topic that we're looking for, because that is, unless we use test topic, if we use anything else, it's not going to show us those messages, and then consume. So now it's going to, when I run it, and I'm not running it in quiet mode yet, but when I run it just as a regular consumer, it's going to show the messages, and then it's going to show reached end of test topic 0. That's the topic number at offset 2. So basically, if I start adding more messages, they will start coming through, and each time it's going to show reached end of topic. Message 4, and it's going to show the message and then end of topic. So now what I want to do is I want to just show you another way to do this, so you're not seeing reach end of topic, reach end of topic. You can run it in quiet mode. So I'm going to Control C out of there, or in this case, because I'm on a Mac, it's Command period. So that's the same as Control C on a Windows machine. So what I want to do is I run that same command again, but I'm also going to add on a -Q, and it should be there. Let's see. Yeah. So now it's the same command. I just added on the -Q after the -C. You just don't see it in this particular terminal. So it's the same exact command with a -Q on the end. And what that does is it's only showing you the messages. It starts them over again and shows you them. So if I start entering more messages, message 5, message, and because it's running on Docker, it's very quick. So you can see how fast, as soon as I push return, it's already over at the other screen. So basically, this is what you're going to do for the homework assignment, except for the homework, you're going to be creating, you're going to be producing and consuming messages in different Python, Python files. And so what'll happen is the message you're going to create will actually be done with Faker. So Faker can create, basically fake sentences that are just gibberish, but they do seem to look like coherent sentences because at least it's real words in there. And so what we want you to do is, you're going to, as I showed you in the lecture, and as you can see in the documentation for the assignment, it basically spells out exactly the format it should see it in. Once you create those, as you're creating those messages or producing them, and then when you're consuming those messages, you'll then also save those to your MongoDB database you create, and save those, and then finally at the end you'll be pulling those out of the database and showing that you've captured those in the database. And so this is just a good example of how to run the system at the command line, but we've given you the instruction, given you the documentation or links to documentation to show you how to run it in Python. And it should be very simple. It's also a pretty interesting little setup we have as an example for you to work with. And so when it's all done, you'll understand what's going on. But if you play around with this and get this running, and this is part of the homework assignment, it's 30 points of that homework assignment, it'll at least give you the background and show you that you are able to produce and consume messages. So with that being said, hopefully this answers all your questions. But if you do have any questions, feel free to email us or meet us in office hours. But if you can get this part running, then the next step is just to get everything running in Python. But this will at least guide you along the way. I hope I answered all your questions, so please feel free to reach out to me and let me know if I can help in any way.